Okay guys, so welcome back to Prep Station Biology UTME 2025. So we were talking about the neuron, and I've already explained the sensory or afferent neurons. I said it takes impulses from the sensory cells towards the CNS, right? The motor neuron now, it transmits impulses from the CNS. So of course, let's say this is somebody's brain here now, right? Let's say this is somebody's brain. Now, then this information, if anything is going towards the brain like this, of course, you should know it is what? It is your sensory cells that will do that. So if this is going towards the brain. So if it is coming again from the brain, that is what? The motor neuron, right? The motor neuron. Then there is the next one now. There is the next one. It is called the relay neuron. This relay neuron now connects these two. So it is the link between the sensory neuron and the motor neuron. So this is the relay here. I'm going to explain what this guy does. Now, let's dwell more on this motor neuron. Now, it transmits impulses away from the CNS to the effector. Now, stay with me. We have this guy here, the sensory neuron. Of course, they pick information from the receptor. I don't know if you guys are following me, because the receptor are what picks up the signal. Are you there? So they pick up the information, the impulse from the receptor cells, then they take it to the brain. Brain will now interpret it, send it to the motor neuron. The motor neuron will now take it to the effector cells. Effector cells are what will help you to make appropriate adjustment. Something is burning, you don't stay there. You move your leg, something is pinching you, you don't stay there. You move your hand, moving now is effector. Whatever is helping you to carry out the signal coming from the brain via the what? The motor neuron is what? Is effector cell. Okay, then the next one is relay neuron. It connects the motor and the sensory neurons together. Okay, so let's move on. Let's look at the question here. The two key cations involved in the action potential of nervous transmissions are, stay with me, please. Now, when you talk about sensory information, now, there's something we call action potential. Action potential. Now, in the diagram of cell membrane, when you draw a cell membrane, your cell membrane is not something so simple like what they used to draw for us. Now, it has plenty, because normally the cell membrane has a shape known as the fluid mosaic. Fluid mosaic. Why? It is fluid, that means it's not rigid. It is mosaic because it is patterned. There are many structures, many items in the cell membrane. So if you have to look at it, it looks like clothes that has different pattern. But in this case now, it's not clothes, it's just a cell. And the pattern can be stuff like protein channel, it can have cholesterol, it can have carrier protein, channel protein. Now, why am I going there? Because I want to explain what happened here. Now, when you have this channel protein here, now it can have stuff like this. When there will be movement of sodium ion and potassium ion. When one is going in, one is coming out. Exactly. When one is coming in, one is coming out. Now, the point is, as one comes in, the other is leaving, is leaving, so that there will be a balance in the amount of sodium and potassium ion that is available in the cell. Okay, so in this case now, just like I have said there, your answer is C. Yes, the sodium ion and potassium ion helps maintain resting potential, affect transport, and regulate cellular volume. Okay, so let's move on. The central nervous system is made up of which of the following pairs? Brain and spinal cord. I think that is the answer. Brain and nerves. This nerve is part of the spinal cord, so we won't take that. We have the spinal cord and the systemic nervous system. We have the brain and cerebrum. Please cool down. You really need to know what you know. All of these are part of this CNS. They are all correct. Exactly. But our answer is brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord is the answer. Is it clear now? Brain and spinal cord is the answer. This is our answer here. A. Brain and spinal cord. Why did I say all of them are correct? This nerve is part of spinal cord. This systemic nervous system is part of the PNS. Okay. This is one of the PNS, the peripheral nervous system. Then we have this one too. This cerebrum is also part of this guy's brain. So you need to know what you know. Thank you. Let's move on. Now, which of the following ions is involved in the conduction of the nerve impulse? I told you earlier, I drew something on the board and I mentioned sodium, potassium. Out of the sodium, potassium, which one do we have? And among the option here, sodium and potassium ion. Which one do we have here? Calcium is not there, hydrogen, magnesium, those are not there. So our answer is B, potassium. Is it clear? So let's move on. Then we have the transmission of impulses along a nerve fiber is characterized by, I told you something, when you have something like this, let's say this is an axon, this is a neuron now, we have the dendrite, right? The dendrite, now these are the axon here, this is the axon, right? This is the myelin sheath, right? Node of Ranvier is also here, your dendrite is here, let's say we have the cell body here too, right? Okay, now the question says that transmission of nerve impulses along a nerve fiber is characterized by hormonal and temperature changes, electrical and ion changes, hormonal changes, electrostatic changes. What is the answer? Our answer is not hormonal. Of course, we have two hormonal. See, you need to calm down. When you're answering question, see, apart from you having the content of the knowledge of the content that you have in the subject, you should also be in the exam hall. Let your mind be. There are some things that you don't even need to know biology to be able to answer them. Now look at this. They are transmitting impulses. They have given you hormone, they have given you hormone. How can you tell me that you are transmitting impulses via hormone? You get now? It cannot be chemicals. That is not endocrine. This is not endocrine. Are you getting my point now? This is not endocrine. Endocrine would only send chemicals. Hormone is chemical. This is also chemical. But this is electrostatic changes. No. So our answer is B. Electrical and ionic changes. Remember, I also told you about sodium and potassium ion. So this is ionic changes. Okay, let's move on. Number 5. Through which means are impulses transmitted across a synapse? Now, listen to me. Let's take, for instance, if you have, let's say this is a neuron, right? This is a neuron, right? This guy is bringing an impulse. Now, there's a gap here. This gap is known as our synaptic duct. Depending on the book you are reading, some people call it cleft. You get? Okay, some people call it gap, but this is the synaptic duct or the synapse. Now, the point is, if the information is coming like this, so when you get to this place now, there's a chemical that diffuse, right? Through this means here, this gap here. Now, we call it what? Acetylcholine. You get? So the answer is chemical. I don't want to go into much detail. The answer is chemical because it is actually chemical and not electrical. It's not magnetic and it's not physical, of course. Okay. So let's move on. Each neuron consists of the following. I gave you that earlier. I drew the diagram of the neuron for you. Each neuron consists of, we have the cell body, yes, is there. Dendrite is there. Axon is there. White matter. White matter is only in the brain. And we also have it, I think we have it in spinal cord too. You get? So it is not part of a neuron. So the answer for this question is D. Okay. Which of the following sequences is the correct route? Is the correct route of the transmission of impulses along a reflex arc? Now, I need you to stay with me. When you hear reflex arc, it means a kind of response that you are not even aware of it. It is fast and automatic. You get? Like all of us know it to be a reflex reaction. You see how some keepers will be jumping and be saving ball. Yes, we call reflexes. Yes, there are times too that it happens to us. Like something just happened to you all of a sudden, and you have to quickly react. Why do you have to react quickly? Because it is important for survival. Oh, so we are looking at the movement now of our impulses if it were to be in a reflex reaction. So what am I talking about? A reflex reaction does not involve the brain. You get? Reflex reaction it doesn't involve the brain. Why? If it has to pass through the brain, it will take a long time. You must respond immediately. So it doesn't react, it doesn't pass through the brain. So let's look at it. It cannot start with a receptor. Something that is a reflex cannot start with it cannot, oh, this is a receptor, sorry. Okay, so a receptor is what receives the impulse, then it gets to the sensory neuron, to synapse, immediate neuron, then synapse, motor neuron, effector, receptor, we have the motor neuron. Now, the point is, the difference between this and this is this motor neuron. Motor neuron cannot be here. It's supposed to be sensory neuron. So this is still looking more like the answer. Let's see the C part. It cannot start with an effector. It is an effector that will help you to react. So this effector is what will help you to carry out the response. I'm moving my hand because that place is hot. You get me moving my hand or the leg. It is the effector cells, the effector muscles that help me to do that. So they cannot begin the whole thing. Then we also have effector. So our answer is A. Let's see, we have the receptor to sensory neuron, to synapse, intermediate neuron, synapse itself, motor neuron, and the effector. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Which of the following is an effector organ? I've explained the effector to you. So, can you use your tongue to react? What about the skin, nose bridge, and your ear glands? The most appropriate answer for this one is B, which is the skin. Then the next question, which of the following statements about a reflex action is correct? Which of the following statements about a reflex action is correct? Now, nerve impulses are transmitted faster to the brain. Yes, they are transmitted faster, but they don't get to the brain. They do not get to the brain. So I cancel this brain. Exactly. B, the action is intentional. Now, this is a reflex action. It is not intentional. It is something that you must quickly, am I not blinking? But I don't even know that I'm blinking. You get now? Yes. So it is not always intentional. Then C, impulses that pass along motor nerves are blocked. No? Now, the action is quick and automatic. I said this earlier. Reflex actions are quick and they are also automatic. Okay, let's move on. Let's move to transport system. Now, transport system is a system whereby materials are transported in the body, just like you leave your house, you go to school, you go back to your house, you go to JAMB office, or you go to your JAMB center to go and write your exams, and after that, you go back, you go back home. You get it now? So there are materials that are moving around in our body too. There are materials that are moving around. Okay, now let's look at what is written here. Living cells are always surrounded by a watery, they are always surrounded by a watery environment. Hence, the need for materials to be transported mainly via osmosis and diffusion. I hope you know why. Because this has to do with, this one especially has to do with liquid. This one too, liquid, but not limited, like not limited to liquid alone. Okay, so materials have to be transported via osmosis and liquid and diffusion. Now, in our body, what are the materials that we transport? Your nutrient, digested food, transport enzymes, we transport ions also. Now, osmosis is the movement of water molecules from a dilute solution into a concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane, while diffusion is the movement of molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Now, the materials transported include gas, food materials, hormones, antibodies. Now, these materials are transported in your cytoplasm, in your body fluid, cell sap, latex, and water. Okay, now the next thing is transport in man, which of course is our main focus, transport in man. So we continue that. We'll just take a short break now and we'll continue when we come back.